it's interesting because I mean, this is a really overarching question, and I'm not expecting you to know the answer. But I'm also would be intrigued to see if there's been any change now that veganism is quite popular, and see if that's had any impact on it. Probably would have shifted because I like almost pushed more towards the wheat and the grain element rather than the meat and the dairy products. That would be a really interesting thing to do some research into.
Yeah, I think I saw I think one of the companies that's like a levy board that sorts, I should know this, sorts like the government out in making sure that they're thinking about things, and lobbies to get markets opened up in other countries and stuff, and like helps keep things going. I think they did a thing, and I think they said that the meat sales hadn't changed and that dairy had gone up or something. I guess because even though veganism grows, population grows, doesn't it? So
yeah, it's a good point.
I don't think it's made much of a difference apart from like online activists getting quite nasty. Like you get trolls.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know a lot of vegans because I'm like in both communities, like the farming and the disabled community. Like, I feel like I kind of bridged them a bit on my page. Like there's like 50-50. And so there's a lot of people who are vegan that are my friends, and they're lovely, and they just love that even though they don't eat the animal products or anything, they love that there are farms that are looking after their animals in a really good way, and that they can see how well looked after they are. I think that's the thing, like whatever you eat, a farmer had to supply it, like in the first place. So you're still supporting British farming, whether you're buying meat, eggs, bread, like whatever. And farming is actually all connected. Like we only produce beef from our cows, and then we produce crops, which is like wheat and oats and stuff. But the cows, the milk from the cows goes onto the crops and grows the crops. So like the crops that go in to become like potentially vegan products have been fertilized by the cows, and we couldn't do that if we didn't have the cows. So it's like all connected.
That's really interesting because I mean, again, I said I was going to ask stupid questions.
There's no such thing.
One. I never would have thought like you would have used, I don't know, unused dairy, or I would never have thought that would have worked on crops.
Yeah, the manure that they produce while they're inside. Like,
oh, I suppose that makes sense. I was more thinking, I just had an image in my head of you just putting milk on the crops, and I was like,
well, no,
didn't think that.
But sometimes people feed pigs the waste milk, or like if they've got spare milk, like small farms will, but like big farms won't have any waste milk because it all goes to a processor, and the only waste milk would be something that we're not allowed to give anything, so it just goes down the drain, unfortunately. But yeah, all the manure and and also like it works the other way, and the veg producers give the livestock farmers the veg that didn't make the cut for the supermarkets, so then that doesn't just go to waste, and then again they get the muck back and grow veg better because they've got some fertilizer for it.
It seems that the farming industry is just way ahead when it comes to sustainability. I don't need this, you need this, here you go.
Exactly. It's very like all in a cycle, so you can't kind of take one piece out. So even if the veg and like grain sale goes up because of veganism, that still helps the whole like system.
Yeah, vegan meats, like I still struggle to wrap my head around it, because I'm like, if you don't want to eat meat, why do you want to eat something that looks and tastes like meat? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, unless I guess if you don't eat meat because of a health problem that you can't eat it, I can see that you need to have it look and taste like it because you might fancy that. But I don't understand like the militant people who are literally like with the plaques at farms, like blocking abattoirs and stuff. I don't see how they then want to go home and eat something that says tastes like chicken. Like you.
Yeah, it's a weird concept. I mean, it's hard as well because I'm very much a carnivore, and very much grew up with like a very varied diet and never had an issue with it. So it's often I feel like I can't comment on it because I've never done it. But then it does, the concept of it just throws me, because I sit there and go, why would you want to eat bacon that's not bacon, but it tastes like bacon, but it's, I just don't understand it.
Like plants are delicious. Like let them taste of plants. Like
yeah,
and like beans and stuff. Like we eat very like varied diet, and we make sure that we have meals that are meat free, like throughout, just because A, finances, and B, like we tend to try and we eat all our own beef, and we buy pork and lamb and chicken, but we buy from like farm shops or like the online farm shops, which obviously is a bit more expensive. So like we do have meat-free meals every week to kind of spread it out, and also just vary your diet. Like
mix it up.
Yeah, and eat something else. Like, and they're lovely. Like you don't need something that tastes like the thing you're trying not to eat. But then if some people like that, then it's not
I think
harming.
it all comes. I think the thing I'm always finding interested with it is like whenever I'm like putting together a vegetarian dish, it's almost like that you have to get over that whole thing of like the meat and two veg mentality of like, right, this is the carb source, this is the protein source, and that's sort of how most people build their food. So then when you look at it from a vegetarian perspective, you're like, right, there's a bit of broccoli on there, now where do I go?
I know, I really have like respect for people who do eat vegan and vegetarian all the time, because it is hard to come up with meals. Like it is so hard, and they're so limited. Like when they go out to restaurants, they have like one meal on the menu. What if you had like all those dietary requirements that you could have, and you couldn't even eat that? Like I do have like a lot of respect for them to be able to eat enough to sustain themselves when it is quite limited, and you have to think so hard about what you're cooking. Like it's a lot easier to just chuck some chicken in a pasta.
Yeah, and I think, like you say, it's that whole thing of having to go out for dinner is not as much of an experience for anyone that has any dietary requirements, because we're still catching up to give them the options. So like someone like me who has very limited dietary requirements, it's very much, I look at a menu and there's probably like 30 things I can eat on that menu. Whereas like you say, if you're vegetarian or vegan, you have the choice of like 1, 2, possibly 3, depending on the restaurant you go to.
I know, I have friends who like have lots of dietary requirements, and it would make them really ill if they ate them. And, you know, it's like someone produces something that they can eat and it's like, yay, that's a friendly one. Like, that's tummy friendly. Like, I mean,
the other thing that's insane, like oftentimes I'm the organizer. So like if we go out for dinner or we do something, or I'm also tend to be the main cook out of our group of friends, I suppose. And like, it is so stressful either trying to create a vegan or vegetarian meal or trying to find a restaurant that's vegan or vegetarian.
It's really hard, isn't it? Like, but yeah, my view is that whatever you eat, whether you're vegan or vegetarian, it doesn't matter to me. Even though we are beef producers, like it doesn't matter to me anyway at all. Like, eat whatever you have to eat, and it's accessible for you to eat. And whatever it is you're eating, you're still supporting British farming if you're buying British, whether that's veg, beans, peas, like anything. Like it's all so connected that it doesn't matter how many vegans there are, and vegans are hopefully helping push to make things better anyway.